Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Bob DiMaria from Naples, Florida, and Westlake, Ohio. Thanks for joining me. Tremendous questions, as always. Interesting one. Dr. Bob, I've had a raise in my blood pressure for over a year, and the doctor said that a part of it's coming from a heart murmur, and he suggested natural supplements, and you cut back on your salt. You went on to say that you started adding salt, started noticing that your body was shaking quite a bit, and you were concerned if you'll ever be able to eat salt again, because when you added the salt to your diet, it didn't seem to be right for you. So here's my thoughts. People who crave salt typically have adrenal fatigue. The adrenal glands are located on top of your kidneys. Well, I have a tool that we use in our practice called a heart sound recorder. So we have this electronic stethoscopes that listen to heart sounds, and there are patterns, and I can see adrenal stress on the heart sound recorder. So your adrenal glands could be exhausted. You may consider an adrenal stress index. Oftentimes with the mineral tissue hair analysis, you have low sodium and low potassium. So my suggestion is you want to drill down deeper to find out how your adrenal glands are functioning. We use Celtic sea salt, by the way. Dr. Bob, I don't want to take the medication that they recommended for my bone health. Is there a natural supplement? Well, first, I would suggest that you get Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Prevent Surgery and read the cataract chapter. You can say, what does that have to do with my bones? I'm going to go into great detail about calcium and phosphorus metabolism and osteoporosis. We use a product from Biotics Research Corporation called OsteoB2. You may want to have an OptiChem profile, which we have on our website, and have your calcium phosphorus ratio checked. Now, I'm going to give you a little secret, everybody. We're seeing more and more people drink larger amounts of carbonated water. I'm starting to see ladies have lower calcium levels on their blood tests because of sparkling water. That was a recent piece of information I learned myself. Dr. Bob, my son says that sometimes he's sad with anxiety, and what could this mean? Well, it can mean a lot. Anxiety is not uncommon. I would suggest maybe some phosphatidylcholine, which happens to be a phosphorus in a liquid in an oil that'll help brain metabolism for him. You might want to suggest reading my book on ADHD, because there's a good chapter, chapter 4. I'll be releasing Dr. Bob's Guide to Mental Health in the springtime. You may consider having the omega test done, checking out the different oil levels. Dr. Bob, my husband has been suffering with what he calls lawnmower going off in his head 24/7. In other words, he probably has ringing in the ears. It could be a food sensitivity. It could be an alignment issue. Could be heavy metal toxicity. Could be a low thyroid. I would start with maybe having an OptiChem profile to check out your thyroid gland, and maybe even the FIT test to find out what foods he could be sensitive to causing the ringing. And I really want to even know when it all started, but I wanted to give you some ideas there. Last question, Dr. Bob, I got your reply about triglycerides, yours being 445, and then you were talking about the thyroid being normal at 3.2, the TSH, well, we like to see the TSH be about 2. You really were concerned about the difference between VLDL and LDL. The VLDL tends to have higher, or shows triglycerides. LDL doesn't have a triglyceride marker in it like the VLDL. I'd want to also know what your glucose levels are, because if you're consuming too many carbs, they can be transferred to fat. And oftentimes people will have fatty livers. Get that thyroid checked, maybe some liver enzymes checked. That will make a huge difference. I'm Dr. Bob DiMaria.